Hello and welcome to Yeshiva League Pass Tip-Off Podcast. This is episode number 3. I am Ari Wickus, joined by the one, the only Oren Glickman. We are thrilled to have you. We're going to bring in our superstar player of the week, Gabby Spodak, shortly. But before we do that, let's talk about our sponsor, Holy Schnitzel. Wow, Holy Schnitzel. I know everyone's coming off of Thanksgiving, and I can tell you, if you want to go to a place where you just feel full, have everything you want, go to Holy Schnitzel. They have it all, as I've said on numerous occasions, wraps, salads, main dishes, side dishes, anything you need on Uber Eats, all your eating platforms, you can find them in all the different boroughs. Obviously, the one in the 5 towns is one that it's close to my heart, where I obviously go there a lot. It's a great place. Holy Schnitzel, thanks for all you do. And without further ado, let's bring on our player of the week, Gabby Spodak. Hello, welcome, Gaby.
What's up?
All right. First of all, congrats on being player of the week. I just want to let you know it's the panel, the committee goes through it. We look through all different players who are candidates, and surprisingly, this is actually your first solo appearance. I know you were on it last year as the champion of the Yeshiva League with the team. So we're just going to fire away with questions and enjoy the spotlight. It's very well deserved. And it kind of brings me into my first question. Having seen you, obviously, I know you from back when you were, obviously just a younger player. But seeing you this year, I've noticed a different Gabby Spodak. And I don't know if that's the senior in you or, knowing that you're a champion and you have a team that has the capability of getting back there. But tell me about the transition from Gaby, the setter-upper, the assist player, to actually the guy when you need a key basket. And I've seen it firsthand. All of a sudden, you become a lot more aggressive. Is this something that you've worked on a lot this summer? The team needed you. How did that come about?
Yeah, so last year it was obviously a very different scheme, different setup. We had Joe and Svi, and they were our guys. So my role was to get them the ball, facilitate, play some good D, and that's what I did. But obviously this year we don't have them anymore, so things are different. We needed me to step up a little bit offensively and shoot more. So I definitely worked on that in this offseason. My three-point shooting especially I tried. And yeah, I feel like it was more of a team needed and yeah.
Right. So it's something that you put on yourself. Did Coach Moko also talk to you like before the season? Like, hey, Gaby, I know you have all the talent. You like to sometimes defer, set up the other kids with the no-look passes and getting into the lane, hitting them for layups. Was that something that Moko discussed with you also?
Yeah. Moko was giving me a lot of confidence going to this year. He was all for it.
All right. So it's a team and an individual thing that you've obviously decided to put that on your back, and you've done a great job in that so far. It's great to see. Oren, what do you got?
Yeah, so talk to us about the big three. You, Michael Solomon, Yitz Bennett. It seems to me like you guys are together through thick and thin. Um, Talk to us about the dynamic, this year as the leaders of the team compared to last year playing with Joe and Svi.
Yeah, so besides for basketball, me and Mike and Yitz are great friends, if not my best friends. So we have that off the court and on the court, because we're such good friends, I feel like that really plays a pivotal role into us working really well together. We're always honest with each other. Whenever in practice, let's say someone makes a mistake, someone does something good, we say it how it is, no matter what. And I feel like because we're so real and authentic with each other, it definitely helps us grow as a team. And yeah, I love playing with them.
Yeah, and by the way, you see it on the court. It's actually Oren hit it on the head. It's like this three-headed monster. And then yes, we'll talk about Saidi. What's his first name? I know it's on the
Isha.
page.
Alicia.
Alicia, yeah. Obviously, him coming up is just a bona fide star scorer. So obviously, he's trying to get with the three amigos, but he has his own superstardom as well. But I wanted to talk to you about this year. You're defending champions. Obviously, last year you reached the pinnacle. You won the Yeshiva League championship, which is the be all end all when you go into a season. That is the ultimate goal to win that title. How is it now? Going back, obviously you want to get back there. Is it that, hey, in my back of my mind, I've already got one banner on the wall. I know my legacy is kind of cemented somewhat. Or has it been like, this is my team, Michael's team, Bennett's team? Is this something that you're driven more? Like, how does that feel? And just be honest with what is that like going back to
Yeah,
try to do the thing you've
so
already done?
so of course we're driven more. And the reason I would say that is because I feel like last year it was like Joe and Svi's team. So we won, but at the end of the day, we were, I guess, role players. And I feel like that. And this year, it's, I guess, as you said, our team. So I feel like for us to win would be more of a statement and more. And I feel like also last year we were like kind of favorites. And this year, I feel like we're a little more doubted. And I feel like once you taste that championship, and as we did last year, you just want to get there again. You're more hungry, and you want it.
Right. And it's funny. That's what a lot of teams say, like Steph Curry, LeBron James, after they won one. I mean, obviously you're a little better than both of them, but once you win one, it's just like you said, you get that taste. You just like it's like championship or bust. But I just want to interrupt one thing. When you say role players, you, Bennett, and Michael Solomon, let's give yourselves a little credit. You guys are not role players. You guys are bona fide starters on a championship team. But no, I appreciate that answer. Oren, what do you have?
Yes, so I think you would agree that people around the league, when they were thinking going into the season, I think they were talking a lot about Frisch SAR, but now you're the talk of the league, being the last unbeaten team. Um, is this something that you guys are, like, are you surprised to be where you are right now, or did you expect it all along that you would be where you are right now?
So to start off the season, we had the Mag and David tournament, and we played against SAR in our first game of the entire season, and we fell short. And then we beat Ramaz, and we were 1-1, and we did not make the playoffs in that Mag tournament. So that definitely motivated us for the up and coming events. And then it drew us to Memphis, which we made it way farther in. We came up short. Tough game to North Shore in the finals. But I feel
School in
like
your
each step
backyard,
is
no
just
less.
I feel like each step is just motivating us more and more. And we came up from Memphis and we're just, I feel like a different team. We're sharpened, our defense has been locked down, our offense has just seemed to gel more. And I feel like we've put it together way more than in the past.
Yeah, and also it's funny you say that. So we at last week's game of the week was the one of the two games of the week was Mag and David DRS, which kudos to Oren, he got it right, I got it wrong. I actually picked Magan, and obviously he picked DRS. But it's funny because that game was the first half I'm watching, and I was locked in on the live stream watching. Credit to DRS live stream, does a great job watching that game. You were trailing, I think, first two quarters for sure, third quarter even halfway in, and I'm like feeling like, okay, this is pretty interesting. It's kind of what I thought. And then you, I think, really stepped up that game. You became a scorer. And what was that like going in? Because that was a big game. You're both undefeated, the last two remaining undefeated teams. Now you guys are the only remaining undefeated team in the Yeshiva League. But tell me, take me through that game, knowing it's such a big game, such a statement game. And you said you wanted to put yourself up against the best, and Magan is a perennial contender. Going from trailing, you hit the mountain, and then it was like downhill, and you guys, closed it. What was that like, that game?
Yeah, so this game actually had a lot of background. Us versus Magan, just we always play them, and it's always tough. We play them last year. We played them 5 times, and it
How
was
many victories did he get against them last year?
well, how many threes?
No. How many
Victories,
victories
wins.
against Magan in those 5 games?
How many? Wait, sorry.
How many times did you beat Magan last year in the 5 games?
All that.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
But um, but every single time I play them, it's a battle. We knew going to this game it would be a battle as it was. And we also, all of our fans, the greenhouse, also hyped this game up for a week before the game. We had actually a theme. It was called Beach Theme, and everyone wore bathing suits, pool noodles, goggles, and it was unbelievable. So that was the hype up to the game. So we knew it was going to be like a playoff atmosphere, and the game comes, and yeah, they got off to an early lead. Within the first 30 seconds, they're 4-0. And Chira, their big man, was dominating us inside. And in halftime, Moko gave us a speech and just got us locked in. We made a couple adjustments, and that third quarter was the best quarter we played all season. And we really blew it open there. And
Yeah, I think, did you go in like an 18-2 run, or it was
yeah,
something? Yeah, it was like, and that's again
You're
against a
trailing at
team like that.
halftime.
yeah, we were trailing at halftime.
Right, and then you just pulled away. It was so it's kind of like it was kind of like what you said your season was. Like, you started off a little slow and then you hit on all cylinders. Everyone was clicking. I think Alicia Saidi was missing, a lot of shots he usually makes early in the game. And then but also what was it during that game? And then I'll let Oren go. What was it like? When did it go in your head and said, I need to be more of a scorer and then step this game up? Because you really, like, I haven't seen you play like that, meaning with the confidence level to get your shot, your jump shot, get to the basket. Was that something in your head, or was that also like your teammates imploring you to do that?
So I feel like it was a mix of both. I feel like always when you're playing, sometimes you don't realize it's different when you're playing than as a spectator. So for me, when I realize things, it's mostly during breaks. So I feel like halftime was that time where people are like, yeah, you gotta be more aggressive. You gotta shoot more. And a lot of my teammates told me that, and even some fans, my family, and I feel like that was a
Talk
big.
to fans during games. Wow, you're the great superstar. That's great. So you felt like it was like a combination, and then you yourself said, "Hey, let me see what I can do here." Okay, that's what it was great to see. Oren, what do you have? And then I'll have a final question, and then you'll have one, and then we'll go with his shout outs.
Yeah, listen, there's no denying this group is special, and I think you have a real shot to repeat as champions. I think I texted Mike Solomon either before the Magging game or after the Magging game that I really believe that the greenhouse is your sixth man. Talk to us, what it's like playing in front of them. Do you really feel like there are a lot of these, these game crunchers with like Mag and David and Flatbush, and that the greenhouse really plays a role in carrying your team to victory in these games?
100%. I think we have the best fan base in the entire league. They are just always there for us, and they're just so loud. They're so into it, playing all this music. We bought a massive speaker at halftime. We go up, and they have massive mosh pits when we come down. And yeah, I think it's a huge factor. I know when I go away, I don't like playing against fans that are swarming everywhere, and it just gets in the other team's head. And it's really, even when we're down, which we were in the first quarter against Magan, we still have our fans just hyping us up, and it's a huge motivation. And we score a bucket, they're just so loud, and you always feel like you're in the game because you have someone just there for you cheering. And yeah.
Yeah, it's been voted in my mind as the number one fandom in the league. I think TABC is right there also, but you guys are awesome. All right, here's my question, or we'll give you a question and we'll give you your shout outs. I want your top five point guards in the league. You're one of them. Give me four other pure point guards. It could be a little scoring guard also, because I know the point guard has kind of gone to die a little bit, but your top other four Yeshiva League point guards in the league.
Okay. I was not expecting this one.
Of course not. Listen, if I
Yeah,
get to see you question every week, it wouldn't be fun.
I know. Okay, so Charlie Sassoon, great friend of mine, great night buddy, day one. Moadeb from Flatbush. It's a great point guard.
Two more. So far, so far,
Um,
you're an undefeatable team. Go ahead.
Bruce Epstein.
Not your natural point guard, but he does. You're
Yeah,
right.
but I
Plays
feel like
point
he's
guard. Great call.
I think
Plays.
it passes.
I feel like whatever. Um, Halpert, if he's considered point
All
guard.
right. We'll let Halpern give us one more. One more point guard that
And one
you look at
more.
as a peer, as that type of player.
Um, Give me Asher Freundlich.
All right, there
I
you
like
go.
that.
A junior. So you had two juniors and three seniors. So a really, really strong team. I thought maybe Noah Spodek would get called out, but he's a little young now, so that's fine. No problem. He's only a freshman. He'll have his time. All right, Oren, give him one more question, and then we'll let him give his shout outs to anyone he feels like.
Yeah, so you can't pick Yitz or Mike. You have to pick four teammates in your conference to take on five guys in the other conference. Who are the four guys you're picking, and who are the five guys you want to go up against in the other conference?
Okay. Uh,
Wow, but in position, everyone's positionless basketball. You don't need
okay, fine.
centers.
So
You
I'll
could
just like
be.
I'll take the other guys I recommend. So Charlie again, I would take. I would take Chira. Chira.
He's thinking like a point guard. He needs a big man.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
needs
yeah.
to score. Yeah.
I
You got
would
two more
take
spots in your team because you're one of the three that you mentioned.
Nate Meyer.
Great 3-point shooter. There you go. This is a scary squad right now. You got one more spot in your conference.
And then one more spot.
Don't worry, as I say, you're gonna make everyone angry but the guy you pick, so
Yeah,
it's good.
right? A lot of pressure on this pick. And then I would go Sam Jamal.
Wow. Okay.
Who are you
Excellent
playing
spot. I know who
against?
you're going against. I mean, or I try to give it a little easier. Oren's making you give us 10 kids, but go ahead. Who's the five on the other side?
Oh, the other side. All right, Stepner, Halbert, Kiva Borgin, um, Bruce,
One more. You got one more.
and Jesse Reinhardt.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
fun game. That's a fun
That's a
game.
fun
It'll
game.
never happen, but it's a fun game.
Right. We may see at the All-Star game at the end of the season. We're not going to put a point spread on there. All right, Gaby, first of all, on a personal level, just want to say it's been amazing to see you, grow as a player. Not only are you phenomenal on the court, you represent yourself, your school, your family amazingly with everything you do. You have the tzitzit on. You're always, just doing the right thing, which is great to see. As Oren and I watch, a lot of kids play ball. You do everything the right way. Any shout outs you want to give, any thank yous to anyone, this is your 30 seconds. Go ahead.
So I got a couple of thank yous. So I would love to thank my teammates, of course. They're with me at all times, ups and downs, and they're always supporting and they're the best. And I would also love to thank my coach, Coach Moko, and my assistant coach, Coach Baez. Moko is not only an amazing coach, but he's a true role model. He's an amazing guy. Always I love chilling with him. He treats me like a friend. And my assistant coach Baez, he's also amazing. And my coach from JV, David Chalowitz. And I would also love to shout out the greenhouse, who is always there for us. And my family. My family is literally everyone knows that the Spodeks come to every game. My grandparents, my cousins, my siblings, and last and finally, of course, my parents, who I have the best parents that anyone can ask for. They literally give me all the tools I need for success in anything, not just basketball. And I love them, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, you need to say no more. You've left me speechless, and that doesn't happen often. But again, Gaby, congratulations. I'm sure you have these huge aspirations, and keep working because we know there's nothing you can't get when it's on your wish list. So thank you. Congrats on being the player of the week, and we'll see you down the road.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Best of luck.
Good day. See you. Bye.
Okay, there it is. Gabby Spodak, superstar, as I said, off the court, on the court, does everything right. And even his shout outs were, all the coaches and everyone who helped him get us there. But let's get into it. Now it's the power rankings. We've had some movement. We had the Thanksgiving a little hiatus for a few days, so there weren't as many games played as maybe in the past. But we had some big games, and we've had some changes in the power rankings. We're gonna sprint through the bottom half just because they're the bottom half, and they have to show us more in the court. We're gonna go at number 20, or Yisrael. They're winless on the season, and they're last in the rankings. And Barkai comes in at number 19. Barkai with their inaugural win over Heschel. Kushner, and they're at number 19. Rambam, they've been plowing through games. They have a lot of games played already, but unfortunately, a lot of losses. I believe 2 wins, but again, competitive in a lot of games that they're playing on tier level teams, getting beaten easily by the upper echelon. Then we have Heschel, number 17. At number 17, they just had a tough doubleheader loss. Not a doubleheader, I think a back-to-back in 2 nights in a row. They played Kushner. They lost both of them after coming off an earlier half their upset. So they're at number 17. At number 16, Waterbury. Again, I think that Orrin and I we'll talk more about the other teams as we get closer. Kind of been disappointing. They played Hafter the other night. I'm sorry, not Hafter. They played JC.
Yeah.
JC the other night. JC won by double digits. That might have been a game that Waterbury could have got themselves going again. But they're at number 16. At number 15, Hank Hurricanes. I think also a little disappointing so far with where they were hoping to be and where they are right now. And then at number 14, we have the Kushner Cobras. Kushner struggled. They had a game against Ramaz earlier, like last week, where they just got blown out. Rebounded nicely against Heschel and came up with 2 wins. What are your quick thoughts on Kushner? Do you think they have an opportunity to kind of right themselves, or they're just going to be a team who beats the teams below?
Yeah, so they're probably still in the race for that sixth and final playoff spot in the conference. They will probably need 1 win where they are not favored going in. They still have 2 games against Orr, so they could get from 3 wins to 5 wins. I know we're only in December, but it seems to me that the magic number to clinch that playoff spot will be 7 wins. So they'll probably need a win against a TABC or an MTA to potentially get that final playoff spot.
Right. By the way, but we are halfway through the season. We're literally at the halfway point. So most teams have played at least 7 games, and this league is 14 games. All right. Then we have at number 13, JEC, I think had a must win the other night against Waterbury. They beat Waterbury pretty handily. Didn't see any of the game. I don't know if it was even live stream, but they won, convincingly on seeing the score. And I think JEC, as we said, their schedule has reached the soft part, the cupcake schedule that I call, at the point where you're playing teams that you should beat, and they're taking care of business. So they're going to be fighting, if they can, right themselves to get into that sixth playoff spot. Still work to be done. At number 12, you have the YD Thunder, who, again, like you said with Kushner, they're going to have to beat one of these teams above them, or they're going to be, dangerously teetering on that non-playoff position. At number 11, the Hafter Hawks. Hafter started off strong, they took care of business against teams they should have beaten. They slipped up against Heschel, but then they had the big matchup against North Shore, and that was a big test for them. And they actually lost that game pretty convincingly. And after seeing that game, and now their schedule, they have North Shore DRS. They're probably locked into a playoff spot just because of their scheduling. But what have you seen from Hafter, and what do you anticipate with them as the season goes?
Yeah, they have pieces. They just can't seem to get it. They can't seem to click together as a unit. I think a lot of people, I feel like we see this theme every year where Hafter get the last playoff spot and they lose to Mag and David in the first round.
Right. There might be right. They play with the 3-6 or something.
Yeah, so it seems like that could be the case again. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Right. So they're at number 11. At number 10 is the TAB Storm. TABC, which again they had that big win over JEC without Borgen. Then they had another game after that they won, or
they beat Orr without Borgen and Faber.
Right. And now, and we'll discuss this on our game, one of our games of the week. They have from my sources. I'm not going to say who my sources are. I have a TABC insider. I hear Borgen will be back for the Frisch game. I hear he's trending in the right direction. He's still 50-50, but he is looking good. I've seen him in private workouts, and I think he's ready to go. So that's going to be a big spot for TABC. He obviously is it's no surprise, the best player on the TABC team, and I think. Say the number 2 guy, number 41. I always butcher his name.
Faber, no right. R, just Faber.
Right. When Faber turns into your second option, that really makes him a lot stronger. And I think they're trending in the right direction with hopefully Kiva Borgen on his way back. Then at number 8, you have the Hillel Heat. Hillel has gotten healthy, but right now they still haven't gotten those wins that they were hoping to do. But they have a big game coming up against TABC. As we're actually doing this podcast, I think we're prior to that game tonight. It's going to be a big game, so we'll see how they do. But yeah, Bruce, what'd you say? For both teams, right? It's a big one for playoff positioning. And Taryn is back. I think their whole team is pretty healthy, or at least as healthy as they've been. So that's a big one for Hillel. At number 8 is MTA, and I think they're just kind of going along the season. No one's really thinking that much of them, but they're taking care of business. They had that great game against SAR minus Ari Halpert where they lost by 2 or 3 points. That would have been a huge win. But again, they're beating teams they should beat, and they're a team that I think no one feels comfortable going in that game thinking they're going to win. They're playing some really good basketball. At number 7, we have the Ramaz Rams, who had that big game against Kushner. When I say big game, they just won big. It wasn't like technically a big game, but they're clicking at the right moment right now. They're sitting at first place, tied with Frisch at 6-1 as they head into their Sam Guinness tournament. Playing well. I think that's Ramaz where they are. At number 6, Mag and David. So what are your thoughts on Mag and David after the great start to the season? Again, we talked about it before. The surprise that, hey, they're still good, but why are we surprised about that anymore? No matter who they lose, they just reload. They don't lose. What do you think after that DRS game and now that they have some games coming up against some of the foes that are pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a minor setback, a setback that I predicted going in. But if there's anybody...
Oh, you have shots fired, Oren. Okay, you're right.
If there's anybody who can help them respond to that type of loss, it's Coach Spike Dweck. So... Magan, the way they're able to pick themselves up after anything, so much adversity, I don't think they'll have much to worry about.
Yeah, I think also that's one of those losses where, Spike and
Makes you
Ben,
stronger. Yeah.
correct. They don't want losses, but they're like, guys, we were the better team for 2.5 quarters, and then we just couldn't hit a shot. We turned the ball over. As we said, Gaby went crazy. So I think again, that's a loss where you can really build on and feel good about yourself as not the day after, but as time goes on. Then we have number 5, SAR. Ari Halpert, not sure. I don't have the insider source at SAR as I do at TABC, but hopefully he's on the mend. I know he had a wrist injury or a hand injury. Hopefully he's on his way back as their season really sets into it. When Ari's out, it's a huge drop off. No surprise, he's a top 5 player in the league. But SAR had a game against Frisch where they hung in there. That was one of our games of the week last week. We both predicted, they were going to win Frisch, and they did pretty convincingly. But SAR, any thoughts on them specifically?
I think we're all in the same boat when it comes to SAR. We're left in suspense. We're wondering what the timeline is in regards to Halpert, because when Halpert's playing, they're in the top tier among the best of the best. And if he's not playing, not that SAR are not in the top tier without him, but it just makes you wonder about their capabilities in terms of contending at the top.
Right. It's what I always say. Like, you can win without your superstar a game, 2 games, but when you make those, not even role players, your second option, your third option become your first option, your second option, it just takes a toll, because then you're bringing off your fifth option is really a bench player. Like, it really takes a toll on the team. Not that those kids like Goldberg, Blechner, Webke, like those kids are all really strong players, but they just have much more on their shoulders, and it becomes a little harder to manage without a superstar like Ari Halpert. At number 4, you have the North Shore Lions. North Shore, rebounded nicely from that SAR loss about a couple weeks ago or so, whatever that was. Took care of Hafter. They have DRS coming up. They have some big matches coming up. Still, I really like that North Shore team. I think they're a team. I think there's obviously we talked about Charlie. We've had him on the podcast, but it's not just, lock up Charlie and you're going to win that game.
Yeah.
They got Cohen, they got Le'Veon, a lot of kids I can't pronounce, on that team. But North Shore, what are your thoughts on them at number 4?
Yeah, I think the beauty of North Shore is that teams are going to be so locked in on Charlie that they don't realize they have other weapons who can destroy them, and Le'Veon and Kohanim. Is Charlie a big focal point of their offense? Absolutely, but there are other guys on that team who have his back, and Coach Shalom, is probably one of the most prepared coaches in the league when it comes to having his guys locked in and taking care of business.
Yeah, and they're have been a phenomenal start to the season with the Big Memphis Championship. They're going to be at the Guinness tournament, which I know talked about previously, and a really strong team. And now we get to the top 3, and I think this top 3 is almost interchangeable. I think these are probably right now the top 3 teams. I think with Ari Halpert injured, and I think North Shore's right there, but maybe there's a top 4 right now. But I think as we get to talk about these top 3, they're going to be flip-flopping throughout the season, especially as they come up, some of them playing each other. At number 3, you have Flatbush, who has those 2 early tournament wins, just taking care of business, have not lost since that Frisch game back in early November. They're just, a strong team. 5 kids, 8 kids deep, whatever it is, probably can go 10 kids deep depending on the matchup. Really strong. And Sammy Jamal, all those kids, what do you see from Flatbush as they continue on their season? Obviously, the biggest games for them are those 2 games against Magan, but they have games coming up against DRS. Teams like that. What do you see from Flatbush?
I think they've been strategic in how they handled their scheduling. How you've had the winnable games plus a test in between. I think that's the way to do it. So they got that early test from Frisch and fell short. But now I think they're in a comfortable spot, combining the fact that they won 2 early season preseason tournaments to be ready for those DRS Mag and David matchups.
Right. Yeah. And they're at number 3. At number 2, the only undefeated team in the league, and they're not number 1, but we have DRS. DRS, we talked a little bit about Gaby with all the strong players. I think that victory against Magan personally really impressed me. It really impressed me, not because I didn't think they could win, even though I picked Magan. I mean, we talked about it. It was like a 6 or 7 point spread, whatever it was. I did that on purpose. Okay. We talked about that being a very, very close game. But what impressed me is that they were down, and I thought that Magan was going to end up, after leading by almost double digits, that they were just going to pull away and just, win that game. But for DRS to come back and just dominate the second half, I think we saw what Gaby was talking about. Like that senior class, and with Alicia playing better in the second half, is really tough because it's not just lock up one player. It's like there are four really strong players on that team, and it's more than four strong players. I just say four kids that you think about in your pregame, and then there's obviously other kids on that team. But what have you seen about DRS? And you've seen them. They played TABC. You've seen them in the tournaments. Thoughts on DRS?
They have an unbelievable fan base, as we touched up on in the interview with Gaby, and I think the reason why, the same way you never count out Magan, the same way you never count out DRS, because Coach Moko, I think, is the best coach in terms of being a motivator.
And by the way, Gaby touched on that. He even said, he goes, that DRS victory over Magan, he said, Moko gave us a great halftime pep talk. Like, as you're talking about motivation.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, listen, I think we're all surprised you included the DRS. We all expected a drop down after Joe and Svi graduated, but this team is just as dangerous as last year's team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and by the way, as Gaby said, they may be hungrier. I mean, Gaby was really talking about that, how they want ownership on this championship.
Yeah, and they know how to win compared to last year where they didn't know how to win yet.
Right, and they said once you have that championship, you've been in tough games, numerous tough games. When you're fortified like that internally, that's a big deal because a lot of kids, no matter how good they are, if you don't play in these close games, it's really difficult to just lock in, realize you missed a shot, you got to make the next. You got to, if your shot's not falling defensively, you got to step it up. But I think as a champion, you realize every little part helps, and that's where DRS is at number 2. At number 1, the Frisch Cougars, they had a big game against SAR, took care of business. Sans Ari Halpert, as we mentioned. They're going to talk about them in our game of the week, but just clicking right now. Stepner, I don't think it's any argument. Obviously, in most opinions, best player in the league right now as a junior. But those role players are really stepping up. Frisch, as they continue in their season, they had that head-to-head with Ramaz. They took care of them, so they're technically alone in first place, even though they're both 6-1. Thoughts on Frisch, and we'll talk about them a little more in the game of the week. But what do you see from them, and how far do you think they can slip, or well, they can't rise up? They're at number 1. But thoughts on Frisch?
No, I think if you ask me, I think the loss against TABC made them stronger. The way they bounced back in less than 24 hours to beat a dynamic Flatbush team. And it's just been perfection since that night against TABC. And now they're playing like the team we all expected them to be going into the season.
Right. And by the way, that bounce back against Flatbush, they won that game pretty handedly.
Yeah.
And that was when they were playing the 3 nights or 4 nights, 5 days, whatever, in different coasts, different time zones and everything. So, yeah, kudos to Frisch. So those are our power rankers. We got Frisch at 1, as we've mentioned all the others. And they're just the league is, as we've talked about it, it's wide open. I don't think we would be surprised if you went 8 teams deep and said, hey, one of these 8 teams is winning the championship. At the end of the day, we probably can make arguments for all of them, actually winning the championship at YU on Championship Sunday. So now let's get into our games of the week. So we've been, generally in the past, we've had one game of the week, but we feel like since this season is so even keeled or even like matched up, that there's just 2 games of the week. So we have 2 big games coming up on Thursday of this week, and they are going to be some real great games. We'll start with the DRS Flatbush. Where's the game at? It's at Flatbush?
In Brooklyn.
It's in Brooklyn. Okay. So you don't have the greenhouse, as you've talked about, Gaby's talked about. You have DRS going into Flatbush. Coach Malk, Coach Moko, the M&M boys. They're both going to have their teams prepared. Coach Malk, I can imagine, is already talking to the guys. This is a statement game. You win this game, you set yourself up for the 1 seed. They already have 1 loss. Magan has 1 loss. DRS has no losses. If they win this game, they own the head-to-head. I don't know if they play twice this season or not. So if they don't, this is a real big tiebreaker. But this is a big game going into Flatbush. We know about Flatbush. I think they're going to be super prepared. I think DRS has that calm heart of a champion that, bring on your biggest fight. We're ready for it. I think the key matchup in this game is going to be the point guards. I think Flatbush's point guard is
Mohad.
There we go, against Gabby Spodak. I think it's going to be a big matchup, and I think it's as we've even talked about, as Gaby mentioned, Eli is one of the top point guards in much. Or I can't even say Eli or Ellie right. This is me and the names of butchering. It's unbelievable, but I believe it's Eli. So as he goes up against Gaby, I think it's a big matchup. What do you think the matchup to watch in this one is? Flappers against DRS.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's necessarily a matchup, but I think I'm paying close attention to Sam Jamal to see what he does in this game because I think Sam Jamal is always the X factor when it comes to this Flatbush team, being the 4-year varsity player. So this might even be. Oh no, never mind. No, this will be the second time that they faced off since Sam was a junior last year. But yeah, I'm paying attention to Sam Jamal to see what he can do in terms of creating for himself and Moadeb providing for him. I think that after Thursday night, every team will have lost. I'm going to go with Flatbush.
But we're in agreement on that. I picked against DRS last week. It didn't do well for me. But I believe the spread on this is Flatbush favored by 6 points at home against DRS. Again, if DRS wins by 11 points, would I be surprised? Not at all. I think Flatbush is a 6-point spread. I think the key to this game is there's no bigs really of that jump out at you. I mean, a lot of the bigs play like smaller players and play on the outside a lot. But I think Flatbush with their home crowd, the importance of this game, DRS with a little breathing room because they don't have a loss. I think Flatbush wins this game by I think 6. I think that's the spread. I'm going to say Flatbush wins. I don't know the exact score. But we're both in agreement Flatbush wins, but neither of us would be surprised if DRS takes care of business. And our next game of the week is another great one. It's a rematch of an earlier matchup, which we've talked about, which you know very well, is TABC going into the Cougar Den. I don't know, what do they call it over there?
Zayat Athletic Center.
What is it?
The Zayat Athletic Center.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Okay, they got to come up with a better name. I mean, if that's a family name, that's great. But we got the Cougar, the Pit. I don't know. They got to come up with something. I don't know what Cougars do, but whatever. So it's going TABC. It's going to be a rocking house. You're going to have as many fans from TABC as they allow in the building as Frisch. They'll probably, as Gaby said, they'll probably have some theme. I don't know, it'll be bathing suit theme. Maybe it'll be the storm with the rain. I don't know, something fun. It's always a great atmosphere. Frisch kids are really hyped up for that game as well as TABC. It's the battle of Bergenfield and Paramus. Those kids know each other. And hopefully Borgen will be back, which we'll know about after he plays Hillel. But it's going to be a great game. In any game, it doesn't matter if TAB is having a down year and Frisch is having an up year or vice versa. These rivalry games are always unbelievable. This game is going to be, I think Borgen is going to really step up in this game, obviously because the superstars generally do. But I see Frisch really getting the revenge that they're looking for. And I think they take care of business. But before I get into a spread or break that part of it down, what do you see, and what are your biggest thoughts on this rivalry game?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's hard for either team to ever pull off a regular season sweep. Even last year with the Kinderler-led TABC squad, they fell short in sweeping Frisch. So TABC
right in Frisch, that's when Stepner hit the buzzer, right?
So TABC already have a tall task ahead of them. Having said that, though, it's like you said, it doesn't matter the talent gap, or it doesn't matter, where people are seeing the matchup heading in terms of who's favored. These rivalry games are just naturally close. It is going to be a close game. It's just a matter of these guys being familiar with each other and being in the same community, and it's just going to be a close game. We know that's for sure.
It's going to be great. I would generally say this is probably a 9-point Frisch. Assuming TABC is healthy, Frisch they've been healthy, and they assume they're going to be healthy. Probably a 9-point favorite, but it's going to be one of those close games throughout. I just don't see an opportunity where Frisch, even though they may feel on paper they're more talented, but these games generally just stay close throughout the game. I think the key to this game, and the only way TABC, not the only way because they've already beaten them, but the only way they win this game in an upset is if they start out with the lead. I think them playing from behind is going to be difficult in Frisch, even though they have the wherewithal to know they can beat them. But I see Frisch winning this game, probably by 3-4 points. I think it's going to be very close, and I think the X factor is Isaac Stepner. Just when Frisch needs a bucket, they go to him, his teammates defer to him, and he's just a superstar. And at the end of the day, when you're 6'3", 6'4", being a superstar and being one of the better being the best big in the league. Also, I think they win by 3-4. I don't know if you're not going to predict this game because your heart says TABC no matter what, and you're never going to go against them, which you shouldn't. But I'll give this one prediction, but that's where I think it's going to be. But any parting thoughts on that game as TABC goes into the Cougar Dome or Center or whatever?
Yeah, no, I think if you had asked TABC if they would have been satisfied with a season split with Frisch, they would definitely take it. But having said that, though, I'm sure they see this as like a massive opportunity to really, they felt like they put the league on notice in that initial win. And if they feel like they can go 2 for 2, then, they'll continue to go back into more favorable territory with the rest of the league if they were to pull that off.
Right. And also, like, and the last thing I'll say about it, it's a bigger game record wise and for playoff wise for TABC, just because I think they're 3-3 or 4-3. They're depending on when the Hillel result happens, but they're in that spot right now where they need to count these wins. And again, they're going in as an underdog. I don't think that's any surprise to anyone. But that win, if they can get this win, it really sets them up because that's another win against Frisch. That's 2 wins against some of the teams that are in the top tier, which obviously is, if you could beat any one of those teams, the bottom teams you're supposed to take care of. So that's it. I say Frisch wins by 3, probably like we said. I think, what did I say? 11-point, 9-point favorite, and we'll see how it unfolds. And Oren will be right in his head no matter what happens because he's not going to tell you who's winning the game. But that's the show. I think that we've. Again, halfway into the season, we've had some great games, some great superstars. We're always looking to see who our next tip-off podcast guest will be. It's been an awesome season so far. I want to thank again Holy Schnitzel. They're our sponsor through it all. This is another year with them. And if you want to get the best of the best, go to Holy Schnitzel. No one comes out of there disappointing, as we hope that you do when you watch this podcast. For Oren Glickman, I'm Ari Wickes. Episode 3 of the podcast is in the books.